Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Please take your seats. Please take your seats. Good evening. If I could have everyone take their seats. Thank you. Thank you. If I could have everyone take their seats, please. Thank you. In my family, I'm definitely known as the one who likes to keep the parties going. We are already running about 6 minutes late, so I want to make up that time. So if I could have everybody please take their seats, we'll go ahead and get started with our program tonight. Thank you so much. Good evening and welcome to the 75th Salesianum Senior Sports Banquet. First, I would like to welcome our head table. Alumnus Dan Bathon, class of 1972 and current trustee. Keynote speaker, Mark Jackson from Villanova University. School president, Tom Kardish. Our MC for the evening, Kevin Riley, class of 1969. Our principal, Father Chris Beretta. Alumni Association President, Mike Query, class of 1990. Returning alumni speaker, Drew Blackwell, class of 2020. Athletic Director Emeritus, Michael Hart, class of 1970. Thank you for all of that wonderful applause, but I need you to hold that because we are about to announce about 120 names. So now it is time to welcome the student athletes of the class of 2023. Please, please hold your applause. Max Agresti, wrestling. No. Christopher Albert, ice hockey. William Ansley, rugby. Benjamin Azevedo, cross country. Brandon Buffone, basketball, baseball. Brady Bartkowski, wrestling. Matthew Bellapede, ice hockey. Ryan Billman, volleyball. Jacob Binkley, cross country, winter track, spring track. Zach Bittner, soccer. Brendan Black, basketball. Chase Black, lacrosse. Owen Bracken, football. Matthew Bradley, cross country, winter track, spring track. Connor Brown, winter track, spring track, volleyball. Jack Camfield, swimming and diving. Jude Carter, baseball. Jacob Chaco, winter track, spring track. Aiden Shermall, baseball. Wesley Clinton, basketball. James Collins, football. Brandon Cortez, winter track, spring track. Ryan Cunningham, lacrosse. Sean Curley, football. Cameron Davis, wrestling. Anthony Delacapagni, football, winter track, wrestling, spring track. Vincent Delacapagni, football, winter track, spring track. Savad Dublin, basketball, spring track. Victor DuPont, tennis. Brandon Esposito, golf. Patrick Fano, cross country, winter track, rugby. Jack Farrell, ice hockey. Evan Frank, baseball. Zach Friend, lacrosse. Darius Gavris, soccer. Alex Genoese, winter track, spring track. Elijah Gibson, football. Nick Giribaldi, football. Jacob Gordon, volleyball. Jack Gormley, lacrosse. Dominic Grassi, swimming and diving. Finn Green, rugby. Joshua Harris, football, winter track, spring track. Colin Honecker, wrestling. TJ Jankowitz, lacrosse. Jack Keefe, rugby. Christian Kingsler, ice hockey. Matthew Klaus, winter track, spring track. Christoph Kopecki, golf. Tyson Kozink, ice hockey. Matthew Kumar, winter track, volleyball. Liam Lego, football. Colin Lewis, swimming and diving. Aiden Lucy, football, lacrosse. George Mackin, winter track, spring track. Ryan Mahoney, swimming and diving, rugby. Declan Malloy, soccer. Anthony Minercia, rugby. Michael Manzi, ice hockey. Logan Morady, ice hockey. Michael Meredith, swimming and diving. Michael Massey, ice hockey. Nathan McBride, baseball. Alexander McChrystal, ice hockey. Colin McGee, soccer, winter track, spring track. Joseph McGrellis, rugby. Sam McEwen, swimming and diving. Matthew Miller, cross country, winter track, spring track. Bo Minner, wrestling. Anthony Molitor, volleyball. Aiden Montgomery, football, basketball, golf. Ian Morton, cross country. Sam Munch, wrestling. Nicholas Nunez, rugby. Donovan O'Brien, football, rugby. Liam O'Brien, baseball. Stephen Orth, soccer. Radek Osborne, soccer. Paris Pappas, soccer. Andrew Pryor, baseball. Jacob Randall, cross country, tennis. Matthew Randolph, rugby. Nate Ray, football, basketball, spring track. Connor Riley, lacrosse. Joseph Robinson, tennis. Jake Ross, soccer. Joseph Rubino, football, spring track. Giovanni Sama, football, wrestling, baseball. Gabe Sanchez, basketball. Jason Schechner, swimming and diving. Eamon Schofield, ice hockey. Garrett Schulke, cross country, winter track, spring track. Xavier Schweitzer, rugby. Warren Scott, football. Griffin Scully, swimming and diving. Kyle Skelly, swimming and diving. Colin Small, cross country, winter track, spring track. Jacob Sorrells, soccer. Luke Stefanisco, winter track. Aiden Touche, baseball. Regan Touche, lacrosse. Sterling Thompson, football. Mac Truver, football. Teddy Sukumis, swimming and diving. Tommy Tyree, rugby. Joshua Urban, football, rugby. Michael Valerani, rugby. Aiden Walsh, winter track, spring track. Seamus Ward, cross country, winter track, spring track. Trevor Way, football. And Curtis Schwo, winter track, spring track. Let us begin as we begin all things here at Salesianum with the direction of intention, which can be found in your program. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. My God, we love for you. In advance to offer to you all the good that I may do and accept all the difficulty. St. Francis de Sales, St. Jane de Chantal, Blessed Louis Brisson, I ask that we all rise for the playing of our national anthem, which will be performed by Senior Benjamin Azevedo. Please be seated. I would now like to invite our school president, Dr. Tom Kardish, to share his opening remarks.
Good evening, family. Good evening, men. Great to see you. You look wonderful in white. Salesianum is a place of ritual and tradition. It's those rituals and traditions that ground us in our past and build bonds across generations. Long ago, the Alumni Sports Banquet became one of those rituals, a rite of passage that helps define the experience of being a Salesian gentleman. Established in 1948, the Sports Banquet has evolved to become the opening salvo of a sequence of cornerstone events leading up to graduation, which not coincidentally takes place in this very space. Sports Banquet is the first time, men, that your mom and dad get a glimpse of those white dinner jackets. Sports Banquet perhaps is the moment when seniors first must reckon that their time here at 18th and Broome is nearing the end. And it's at Sports Banquet when we all get the opportunity to share in the wisdom shared by our honored guests as they reflect on the ways that competition and teamwork shape the lives we live outside the lines. The Sports Banquet is an event that's been graced by legends like Michael Phelps, Hall of Famers like Don Shula, and heroes like Sally's own Admiral Tim Szymanski. For 75 years, the Alumni Sports Banquet has been a testament to the power of tradition and the role that sports plays in building our very special community. And on this diamond anniversary, we have a living testament to the power of this event. Guido Schiavi, could I ask you please to stand? Guido is very special to all of us. He's very special to me. He may have been the first person that walked right up to me when I became president of Salesianum, so I'm very grateful for his warm welcome. Guido not only attended the very first sports banquet, he has attended every sports banquet. That's 75 dinners he's had here. It probably doesn't come as much of a surprise to anyone in the room, but as we acknowledge Guido and his passion that he has for Sally's, let's acknowledge all our alumni, living and deceased, whose actions has shaped our beloved traditions, whose generosity has built our foundation, and whose enduring support serves as an example of true devotion to all of us. Guido, thank you very much for always being here. To follow up on that idea of devotion, it's kind of a perfect segue to a special presentation on this 75th anniversary of the Sports Banquet. In 1966, Mike Hart entered the halls of Salesianum as a freshman. He's never left, literally. Even in college, Mike could find his way back to 18th and Broome regularly to volunteer his time to the athletic department and to lay the foundation of what would become his life's vocation. For those of you who don't know Mike, let me give you a primer. He served as this school's athletic director from 1976 to 2019. Not quite 75 years, but close. Both before he formally began and since he formally ended, Mike does what he always did. He grinds. Mike does the dirty work. He thrives behind the scenes. And through it all, Mike has demonstrated his love for this very special place, Salesianum. For those of you who do know Mike, you might be scratching your head and wondering where that love was when he was dealing with me. But it was never Mike's way to shower affection. He saved his affection for the things he held most dear: his wife Jane, his sons Michael and Brian, his grandchildren, Notre Dame football, and above everything, the House of Sales. Mike's career at Salesianum and with the DIAA has always been defined by seeking the greater good. He does that by honoring our patron, St. Francis de Sales, and he does all the little things well. Mike will tell you that statewide, everyone wants to serve on the DIAA basketball and football committees. Mike's always had enough clout to rank to chair those committees, but instead, Mike chooses to head up the swimming committee. Why? Because it's the least popular. When Wilmington Park and Rec sought to use our gym over the Christmas break, who is always the one person to raise his hand and offer to come, open up, and proctor those sessions? It was Mike Hart, who made the time to attend virtually every competition, whether varsity, JV, or freshman, as athletic director. It was Mike Hart, who even drove a Baltimore Poly football player all the way back to Baltimore because he missed the team bus. It was Mike Hart. And which employee of Salesianum was the first to give back and to give more than $10,000 to his alma mater, Salesianum? You guessed it, it was Mike Hart. In athletics, it's easy to measure success by wins and losses, by championships and memories. Mike has all those. You can just look up at the top of this and do the math and figure out how many times he's been here for one of those DIAA programs. And you can read about those records in your program. But those records and metrics aren't why we're here to recognize Mike's long career tonight. We're not celebrating those victories here. We're celebrating his devotion. No team, whether it's Sally's or anywhere, can win without commitment and champions. We need heart. And at Salesianum, we've had Mike Hart for nearly 60 years. And so, Mike, as we begin this 75th sports banquet, we're very excited to announce that we will name the office of the athletic director in your honor. Mike. For those of you that don't know, Salesianum's equipment room, which sits immediately adjacent to the AD's office, is named in honor of Mike's father, Big Daddy Hart. So for 20 of Mike's 43 years as athletic director, he worked side by side with his father, who volunteered as the equipment manager. So I'd like to know how that boss-employee relationship went. I'm sure you can. Well, it seems fitting to me as we focus on the idea of devotion to Salesianum that these two spaces should be linked together forever. Our patron reminds us that nothing, not even death, can break the bonds of friendship. And so it will be downstairs in our athletics center, a reminder to athletes and coaches and all of us of devotion and heart. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's honoree, Mike Hart.
Thank you. There's probably a bet out there by a few people that are wondering how long I'm going to be. People that know me know I can be rather long-winded. Others also know that I can be short. But I don't know where to start. I first of all would like to thank Tom Cardish and Father Beretta and the school administration for this great honor. It certainly was not expected. You know, I've served my 45 years and I loved every minute of it. But they allow me to live my dream. You know, they say you find a job that you like and you never work a day in your life. Well, I found my job, worked my life, and the biggest part of it was my passion for this school and this institution. Certainly there are so many people tonight that I could thank, but that list, we'd still be here at 10 o'clock. So we definitely don't want to do that. But I certainly would be remiss if I don't thank several groups of people and some individuals. The first group that I would like to thank are all the members of the Salesianum community. The teachers, the students, the staff, the coaching staff, all the alumni that I've worked with over the years. It certainly has been a fantastic pleasure for me in all those years. Another group I like to recognize, and a few of them are here tonight, are the athletic directors, and there's several of them sitting out here. But thank them, but thank all those athletic directors that I had to deal with over all the years. A lot of great people. There are a few individuals that I must thank personally. First, it's my parents. They started me on this journey in 1966, as Tom mentioned, and I never left. They made many sacrifices over those years to send myself and my brother, Richard, here. Back in those days, money was tight as it is now, but it was a little different back in those days. My father worked 3 jobs at times to put us through here. And my mother went to work when I started here. Second, I'd like to thank 2 oblates. Father Robert Aschenbrenner, who is still living and was my predecessor, and Father Bob Kenny, who was principal and president of this school. Those 2 men believed in me at 24 years old and gave me the chance to do what I did. Excuse me. Another person I met on the first day of school in September of 1966. There's a lot of alumni here that I know will remember him. And it's a gentleman by the name of Joe Petro. He was my best friend until he passed away in 2013. Of course, the last group I need to thank are my extended family and my immediate family, of whom many are here tonight. My brother Richard, class of 76. My son Michael, class of 99, and his wife Stephanie and his daughter Abby. My son Brian, class of 03. His wife Stephanie, and his sons Derek and Logan. They're the 2 athletes, those 2, they're going to be good. Hopefully I'll still be around to see them play here. That would be very nice. But without them and their support, I could not have done what I've been doing. And of course, the most important person in my life is my wife, Jane. She's here, please stand. She's been by my side for 47 years. She's been my strength, she's been my sounding board, and she's the glue that holds our family together. To everyone tonight, I say thank you for the honors, and please enjoy the rest of the evening. But now, the most important thing for me is for 40 plus years at the banquets, I always gave the seniors a message. And this year is not going to be any different. The only thing is I'm not going to be quoting numbers and things of that nature. That's for other people to do. Gentlemen, tonight the focus is on you, your family, your friends, alumni, and many others are here to honor you and all the accomplishments that you've had over the last 4 years, academically and athletically. Tonight, as Tom mentioned earlier, this is the first pillar of going out. You take your place as part of that legion known as the Salesianum Brotherhood. Now it's your turn to take your place on the shoulders of the alumni that came before you. This brotherhood is not for everyone. It is something that has developed over a 120-year history of the school. It is something that you have helped to nurture over the last 4 years. You now become part of that. When you entered here in September of 2019, many of you had no idea of what it would mean to be Salesian. You had very few friends at that point, and more importantly, you had no idea what that brotherhood would be like for you. Over the 4 years that you've spent here, you've learned a great deal academically, for sure. But I think one of the most important things you learned about our patron, Francis de Sales, and his life and his beliefs. 53 years ago, believe it or not, I was sitting where you are right now as a senior athlete. And certainly I was wondering what my future would be. As the saying goes, the rest is history. However, I do believe that the most important thing you learned were to take hold of Salesianum, take hold of the core values of our patron, Francis de Sales, which are humility, gentleness, patience, gratitude, optimism, tenacity, and compassion. I don't see how you can go wrong. These values are something that are very special to me and to this school. In conclusion, my advice to you is very simple. Hold on to those values for your life, as I am someone who has followed them for 57 years. They will guide you through life, and they will help you through the good times, and will give you the strength in the hard times. And after everything is said and done here tonight, and you graduate shortly, you have been given a great opportunity to move further on in your life by your parents and Salesianum. You are part of something very, very, very special. You are now part of the Salesianum Brotherhood. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of the evening.
All right, I have one final task before we eat, actually two. And the first is everybody who's a parent, raise your hand. I want to say thank you very much for the gift of your sons. I really mean it. It's a joy for me to walk through these doors every day, and the reason it's a joy is because the gift you gave our community of your sons. I can imagine the pride that you're feeling tonight, and I want to say just thank you. And another thing we should thank God for is our blessings, so let's all remember we're in the presence of God, and we'll say our grace. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Bless us, O Lord. These, I guess, should bow to receive the bounty of Christ our Lord. Amen. Bon appetit, everybody.
If I could have everyone start to head back towards their seats, please. If everyone could please start heading back to their seats. Playoff hockey is on tonight. We gotta go, right? Please find your seats. Please find your seats. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody. Boy, that old nun thing works really well. My name's Kevin Riley. I graduated from here in 1969. If you're doing the math, I was sitting out there 54 years ago, but a lot of things haven't changed here. Way back when, probably around the 35th or 36th banquet, I was in charge of it. And I got the Eagles' new head coach, Buddy Ryan, to come down here to speak. And to make sure that Buddy didn't get lost, I picked him up at the vet, and he was ready to come down, and he had his scotch on the rocks with him. And we were going, and we started talking, and we found out both of us had been to Sloan Kettering Hospital and had cancer problems that were resolved there. And so that created a good relationship right off the bat. And I'm listening to KYW radio, and I hear that it's backed up on 95. Man, I want to get him down here so we can get to the cocktail hour. Well, I know the way through Chester a little bit because we had training camp there when I was with the Eagles. And so I'm driving mad through, Chester, this road, and I'm looking at the red lights, I'm speeding, and I'm looking again, oh, we're gonna get there on time. I'm really anxious about the whole situation, and we finally come to a red light, and I haven't been paying attention to Coach, and I turn over, and he's holding on to the "oh heck" thing. And I said, "Coach, are you all right?" He said, "Yeah, Riley." He said, "It's great to be going through back roads at 100 miles an hour with a one-armed guy. I feel good." Well, one of the things is I got him here to the banquet. He was absolutely taken back by seeing all of you guys in tuxes. Unbelievable. He couldn't stop talking about it. And for years and years later, I'd run into him at the airport, I'd run into him here, and he'd always say, "Hey, by the way, how are those Penguins doing?" He never forgot you guys. Well, it is my great pleasure tonight to be here and emceeing the 75th anniversary of the sports banquet. And I get the opportunity to kick it off with somebody that I've known since she was a little girl and had her husband as a 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade CYO. I had to coach him. God, I don't know how he ever put up with that guy. Anyway, Ricky was a great ball player, just a little bit on the side of being disappointed a lot. Anyway, Katie Godfrey, she's in her 2nd season as athletic director. By the way, she was named Rookie of the Year last year, and this year, with 5 state champions with her already under her belt. I've misquoted it, 7. And that doesn't count the spring yet, right? She's heading for 10. And if she gets 10, I don't know if there's an all-pro athletic director, but she would deserve it. Please welcome Katie Godfrey.
Kevin is somebody that I always looked up to as a little girl, so having him announce me is just a very special moment, so thank you, Kevin. I attended my first sports banquet when I was 13 years old. It was for my oldest brother, and then I kept going from thereafter. I came every year with my grandfather, and then my dad. My dad's here, my brother's here. Dad, you want to wave? And we kind of made it a family tradition that we would always come. So I've only missed 2, and I blame that on my children, my beautiful children at home. My grandfather, William Beck, was the class of 1934. And he, along with his Salesian brothers, came together and started this banquet. So that's why this banquet has such a special place in my heart. My grandfather always had a pen in his hand, and he had the program out, and he timed everybody. I've been doing the same thing with him ever since. Dr. Kardish spoke for 10 minutes. Michael Hart spoke for 9, so I'm going to try to break that, but I'm timing everybody, so I'll know when I go back just how long that we all spoke for, including myself. So first off, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Joe Rapicelli, who's trying to hide in that back corner. And the rest of his advancement team for all the hard work that they put into this. Joe was here late every night, just kind of working on this. So Joe, thank you very much. You are the heart behind this. Secondly, I would like to thank my team. My team are my coaches. Without you guys, none of this would happen. I appreciate all the time, the energy, the late nights, the early mornings, and everything that you do. Thank you so much for everything that you have done. Special congratulations, because we've had some coaches with some milestones here. Coach DiNardo had his 300th win. Coach LeBlanc had 125 wins. Hold on. Coach Healy had 300 wins. Coach Byrne was named a National Coach of the Year. And Coach Davis was named Delaware Coach of the Year. So congratulations for their special honors. Seniors, tonight is a very proud moment for you and your families. This is this first moment that we keep talking about with you guys in your white tuxes. Just like when I'm yelling at you, whether it's on the sidelines, in the cafeteria, in the hallways, in the student section, it is a privilege to wear that Salesianum across your chest. It is a responsibility, and it is a privilege and a responsibility to be here tonight in your white tuxes as well. Your class has really left a mark here at Salesianum on the athletic history. So let's take a look back. This year alone has been absolutely amazing. In the fall, our soccer and cross-country teams defended their title. We had an epic winter where our teams earned the coveted 5 for 5. Over the course of the past 4 years, your teams have been to 36 out of 37 possible state tournaments. You had a winning percentage of close to 75% and brought home 19 state titles. So let's do the math. I was a math teacher. 19 divided by 4. Can't do that. 20 divided by 4? 5. Okay. So we're averaging 5 state titles per year. Considering your junior and senior years alone, your varsity teams have won titles in 8 different sports. That is incredible. Our programs have had such great success because of the depth of your team, the work that you guys have put in. I would also like to take this opportunity to honor our all-state athletes and our individual state champions. So when I say your name, please stand and remain standing, and please hold your applause. Matthew Miller, Colin Small, Matthew Bradley in cross country, please stand. Jake Ross, Zachary Bittner, Tanner Brentlinger, Darius Gavris in soccer, Nate Ray, Joe Rubino, James Collins, Ada Montgomery, and Aiden Lucy in football. Christian Kingsler, Matthew Bellopede, Logan Morady, Michael Manzi in ice hockey. George Mackin, Vinny Delicapagni in indoor track. Griffin Scully, Kyle Skelly, Jack Camfield, Teddy Sukumis, and Sam McEwen, and Jason Schechner in swimming and diving. Cameron Davis Jr. and Max Agresti in wrestling. Jake Ross was also named Player of the Year and All-American in soccer. Nate Ray was named Defensive Player of the Year in football, and Max Agresti was named Wrestler of the Year and the first Delaware wrestler to win Beast of the East title in 10 years. Last spring, as juniors, the following student athletes earned all-state honors. Matthew Klaus, Matthew Miller, Vinny Delicapagni in spring track. Ryan Cunningham, Connor Riley, Jack Gormley, and Zach Friend in lacrosse. So we know that there will be many more accolades coming this spring, but congratulations to you gentlemen for representing us. Now, seniors, you are getting ready to leave these Salesian walls, and I hope that you always keep the direction of intention close to your heart. Realize that it's going to take a lot of Salesian tenacity, patience, to accomplish those goals. I've spent a lot of time reviewing what your accomplishments are, but really what I love the best, more than those state titles, is the Salesian brotherhood and the pride that you guys take in representing Salesianum. Whether you're helping me set up for a game, cleaning up your bench or sideline, assisting an opponent up, or thanking an official, it is those little things that really show your true character. Gentlemen, I hope that you will always continue to do those little things and make us proud. Each year, we ask the seniors to vote for a senior to speak on their behalf. I have been told by one of my predecessors, Mike Hart, that as athletic director, I reserve the right to veto your decision. He also shared with me that he never had to do it, and I didn't have to either. The senior class has chosen a young man who is a true team player, a 3-sport athlete, and always has a smile on his face. Even though Coach Haley and I had to put up with you and your fruitless efforts to dunk in freshman basketball, I am pleased to welcome Ada Montgomery to the stage, who can now dunk.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank all of you for joining us on this very special night, not only for the seniors, but for myself for having the privilege to speak on behalf of us all. When I was asked to give a speech for this occasion, at first I was extremely excited and honored. Then reality set in, and I somehow had to fit 4 years of unforgettable sports teams and memories into one speech. For those of you who don't know how I got here, let me fill you in on my background. I'm the youngest of 4 boys and the last one to graduate from Sally's. Seeing my brothers getting dressed every day in their shirt and tie made me fall in love with the school. So much that I'd even wear a shirt and tie in 4th and 5th grade to school. I've been around Salesianum for about 12 years now, so I've been dreaming about this day for as long as I can remember. My whole life, I grew up playing baseball, and that's all I ever knew. I was what you would call the cleanup batter, also known as the fat kid who hits bombs and can't run to save his life. In 8th grade, considering my stature, I was what every lineman coach would have wanted out of an 8th grader. And that is when Coach McBride and Coach Sage asked me to play football for St. John's. Fast forward to the first day of practice, it was beyond hot, my legs were chafing, and my inhaler was almost empty. Let's just say I barely made it out of the first day of football alive. First year, sorry, excuse me. Fast forward to August 2019, freshman year football. 60 other young men and I showed up on the first day of summer practice. It was obvious some of us had played before, and some of us were there to basically meet new people. Being an athlete at Sally's has opened up many opportunities in my life, just as much as it has for so many of you. People sort of look at you differently when you play a sport here, because they know how hard fought it truly is. There are kids out there that dream of getting to put on our shiny gold helmets or our crispy Nike uniforms with our blue and gold colorways. It's an indescribable feeling walking down a CHIPS office on game day and grabbing your freshly folded jersey. You boys know what I mean. Thanks, Chip, for taking care of us. But every senior in this gym has their own specific reasons why they participate in their respective sports. So many of the men in this room have earned athletic scholarships to compete in college, and some of us to play and stay active and be with friends. But aside from these motivations, we all share the common interest with our careers in Salesianum athletics. And that is the interest to uphold the tradition and legacy of one of the greatest high schools in the nation. It is no secret that Salesianum has a continuing success rate in sports. This winter, we have done the impossible by winning all 5 state championships. That is swimming, indoor track, wrestling, who won their first chip in 48 years, ice hockey, who went undefeated, and the basketball team finishing it off at the Bob Carpenter Center. Wow, was that something. Every day of prep, it was another team winning and announcing why our athletics stay on top. But there wouldn't have been all these titles if it weren't for the team. This year in basketball, when we were at one of our lowest points, we had a meeting where Coach put together a slideshow of each player and what their defined role was on the team. This made me realize how important it is for us athletes to understand how valued we are on our respective teams. Every single athlete in this room has made a difference in leading their team this year, win or loss. And I think that is why we are all gathered here today. Whether it's the winning, the competitiveness, the early morning workouts, the bond you build with your brothers, or the blood, sweat, and tears that go into every single practice, we all have a reason. But the reason we were able to accomplish what we did is because Sally's did not only teach us to be astonishing athletes, but to be respective men along the way. That is what makes Salesianum athletics so special. As we move on to the next chapter in our lives, let us take a moment to reflect on the lessons Salesianum athletics have taught us. Being a Salesian athlete teaches you to enjoy the journey just as much as the end result. Through hard work, dedication, and brotherhood, anything is possible. Brothers, congratulations on all you've accomplished in your 4 years at the greatest high school in America. Whether I was a teammate or cheering in the student section, it's been an honor and a pleasure watching each of you compete with that S on your chest. To our coaches, thank you. Thank you for your guidance and your unwavering commitment to not only your athletes, but to Salesianum. You're responsible for not only the banners hanging around us, but for creating countless memories that none of us will ever forget. While you'll go on to coach many more seasons, While you'll go on to coach many more seasons throughout your years here, you've made the only 4 we've had so special. Thank you for the life lessons and the opportunity to be a part of something bigger than ourselves. To the parents, where do I start? First, on behalf of all the senior athletes, thank you. When you first sent your son to Salesianum, I'm sure you didn't envision this moment. I'm sure you still remember picking up your son from that first day of practice, excited to hear about their new teammates and skills they were learning. Excuse me. Fast forward to now. We're gathered here in our white tuxes for the first time. God, I keep losing my spot, sorry. Reflecting on those memories that led us here. As parents, you make the ultimate sacrifice, attending every home and away game you can, driving and picking up from practice, buying those cleats or sneakers we had to have. While we were putting in the work on the field, you were doing the same at home. Thank you for the love and guided support throughout your entire sports careers. You are the reason we are gathered here in the first place, and without you, none of this would be possible. You are the real MVPs. As exciting as it is standing up here in front of all you tonight, it still hasn't truly hit me yet that all this is just about coming to an end. From football games, to house competitions in the gym that none of us were allowed to participate in, debating with Miss Godfrey about who's bringing donuts, or not letting us getting changed in the parking lot anymore. Or selling out the Bob Carpenter Center with a bunch of young gentlemen dressed to impress. I can't imagine any other place I'd be to spend these past 4 years. I think I speak on behalf of us all when I say we're going to miss this place we've all been so lucky to call home. Brothers, congratulations on an incredible athletic career. We've all left an incredible mark on our school and in our community, and I wish you all nothing but the best in your future endeavors. Class of 2023, our team here is coming to an end. Graduation is right around the corner, and before you know it, we'll be back in this gym during our reunion talking about the good old days. But while we are here now, take a look around. I'm sure you see some of your teammates and some of your best friends, but these are your brothers and always will be when you leave this place. It's been an honor speaking to you all tonight. Thank you for putting your trust in me on and off the field and as well on the mic tonight. Thank you, Salesianum, and roll Sals.
Fantastic job. You know, I happen to be thinking up here, there's so much going on with the athletic directors, with Michael getting his award tonight. We have the new coach, the new athletic director in the audience. It takes me back to an athletic director who was here when I was here by the name of Father Robert Aschenbrenner, one of the humblest men I ever met in my life. He was our bus driver. He was our trainer. He was the guy that took care of all of the equipment, and he would also mow the grass up here where we had the football field. He did it all, and he did it all without ever mentioning any complaints. Well, there was one story that I needed to qualify for him that only he knew the answer. And a few months ago, Mike Hart and Mike Gallagher, who was a '69 classmate of mine, we decided to go down to Childs, Maryland, and visit the 96-year-old Padre. And when we got down there, I said, Father, there's one question I got for you that you only know the answer to that I can verify. And I said, back in the early 60s, a guy by the name of Tom Michael Ajewski was at quarterback, and he got knocked pretty much out during a game, was able to get off the field, and was immediately handed over to Father Ash for him to take care of him as the trainer. Well, the second string quarterback went in and wasn't doing too well. And Dim Montero, the great coach, who was there then, said, Father Ash, come here. When's Michael Ajewski going to be ready to go back in? Oh, he said, he can't go. He said, what do you mean he can't go back in? He said, Coach, he doesn't even know what his name is. Dim took a second and said, tell him he's Johnny Unitas and send him back in. Well, this next young man has been through Salesianum and, fortunately, through college. We're getting ready to graduate, and what a bio he has. In 2019, he was named first team All-State and All-Conference, as well as Delaware's Gatorade Player of the Year, Delaware's Coaches State Player of the Year, and United States Soccer Coaches High School All-American. Drew started his career at the University of New Hampshire, where he was a midfielder from 2020 to 2021, and was a member of the American East Coast Tournament Champion and American East Conference Champion. He transferred to LaSalle University for the 2022-2023 school year and is a member of the soccer team. He saw time on the pitch this season and hopes to build up for the 2023 soccer season. Drew is majoring in business administration and has made the dean's list every semester of his college career, both at New Hampshire and at LaSalle. Academically, Drew was one of the top classes, earning a distinguished honors and cumulative GPA of 4.12. I had a 4.0 once. 1.5 my junior year and 2.5 my senior year. Anyway, please welcome a man for all seasons, Andrew Drew Blackwell.
Good evening, everyone here tonight. And I just want to preface this speech. Giving speeches is not my favorite thing to do, but since I spent a year torturing Mrs. Godfrey in stats class, I figured I owed her one when she asked me. The first thing I want to do tonight is congratulate all the senior athletes on an incredible career and give a special shout out to the winter athletes for going 5 for 5. I remember a time when the fall Triple Crown was a big accomplishment, but 5 for 5 sounds a lot better to me. Secondly, I would like to wish luck to all the spring athletes going forward for the remainder of their season, and hopefully we can continue up racking state titles. That being said, the class of 2023 has already had historic success on and off the field. So it's a real honor to be standing up here and talking to all of you tonight. Not only has your on-field success been incredible, but the constant and ever-present support you show for your brothers has been astonishing. I went to a couple soccer games this year, and I was amazed by the amount of students in the student section, even though the game I went to was on a Wednesday night. And of course, when the Sal's basketball team goes to the Bob, the students go with them, and they always dress to impress. You guys should be proud of the support you have shown for each other over the year, and you know that a rowdy crowd will help the players on the field and motivate them to push through whatever they need to. So I challenge you guys to continue this support for the spring. As a graduate of the class of 2020, my classmates and I were met with adversity of the stadium renovations in the fall and a global pandemic in the spring. We did not get an opportunity to play at Abyssinia Stadium. Some of us did not get to play their senior year at all. But nonetheless, I can confidently say playing that senior fall was the best moment of my life. Tonight, I want to not only share with you why my experience here at Salesianum was so special for me, but also share some things that I learned here that have stuck with me ever since, and I hope you guys can take a thing or two. My time here at Salesianum was nothing short of amazing. I spent 3 years as a varsity soccer player, playing the sport I loved with the people I was proud to call my brothers. And as far as I was concerned, I was living the dream. I grew up 5 minutes down the road from here, and I remember going to Sally St. Mark's games at Baynard Stadium before I was even in middle school. Ever since that first game, I knew eventually that I wanted to don the Sally's gold. I remember watching the players on the field, thinking they were gods. I remember dreaming that one day I could be them. So when the time came to apply for high school, there was only one school on my list. My sophomore year, which is my first year on the varsity team, I learned my first lesson from Coach Mosier, and it is one that I will never forget. He taught me that the difference between beating a team 10-0 and 11-0 was a lot more than you might think. It does not matter if you're playing St. Mark's, it does not matter if it is their senior night, and it does not matter if you scored your first varsity hat trick. 10 goals was fine, but 11 goals was a little disrespectful. On a more serious note, the most important thing that Coach Mosier ever taught me, everybody on a team is responsible for the actions of their teammates. The actions of one can change the public perception and reputation of the whole group. The program you are in can only work as a cohesive unit if everyone is fighting out for a common goal. And when players do things that do not align with that goal, the whole season can be derailed. This message is not only true for individual programs, but also for the school in its entirety. Wherever your life takes you, especially these next couple of years, your actions have the potential to positively or negatively affect the way someone or some group of people view our school. So make sure your next steps in life that you continue to make this community proud. Do not think for a second that your time representing this school is done. Believe it or not, there are underclassmen at Sally's and middle school students around the state that are looking up to you and hope to one day be in your shoes. I want you to continue to be a role model for the younger guys within your respective programs for the remainder of this school year, and I want you to do as much as you can next year when you are a graduate. A text or a phone call from one of you can go a long way next year and help keep the programs and cultures that you spent so hard working, built, and maintained. That didn't make sense, I'm sorry. Let me read that again. Text or a phone call from one of you next year can go a long way for the programs and team cultures that you work so hard to build and maintain. There we go. My time here taught me exactly how important support from alumni can be. My sophomore year, the soccer program was coming off its 7th straight state title, and the team the year before just so happened to be led by my brother, State Player of the Year, Jason Blackwell. Having an older brother that successfully went through the program I was currently in was both a blessing and a curse. The upside, everybody in the program knew my name. The downside, everybody in the program knew my name. There was always pressure to be like my brother, and there were days where I felt there was no way I could live up to his name. There were days where I wanted to quit. But the constant voice of my brother and the alumni that followed him pushed me to perform in ways that I never could have imagined. They reminded me that I was not just playing for myself and my current teammates, but I was playing for everyone that had ever stepped foot in the program. Next year, I challenge you all to be that constant voice for the rising seniors. Next year, I challenge you all to celebrate their success like it is your own. Now, I do not know if the alumni for your programs were that voice for you, but I do know that there are people in this room that enabled you to be the best versions of yourselves. The parents, coaches, teachers, and administrators that supported you, helped you, and pushed you throughout the year deserve real recognition. Everything I have done was because of their love for you. Sometimes that love may seem like anger, and Coach Mosier will be the first to tell you that my parents love to show anger. But at the end of the day, the joy of watching your success is what drives them to do what they do. So please remember, on this night especially, to thank the adults that helped you along the way. Finally, I want you to look at the brothers you sit arm in arm with, the brothers that have been by your side every step of the way. Do not let the relationships that you have made during your time here fade away. These past years, you have been brothers in battle, and as life goes on, you will find that new battles you must face are always easier when you have the same people by your side. No matter how hard those battles may seem, or no matter how lonely you may feel, I promise you, your brothers in this room will always be willing to battle one more time next to you. Thank you all for listening to me. God bless you all, and go Sals.
Great job. Our next person up here is going to be introducing Mark Jackson, and his name is Dan Bathon. He was a linebacker and fullback at Salesianum and Villanova, played both ways. He was first team All-State in his junior and senior year at Salesianum at those two positions. He was winner of the Tom McCann Award as the best player in Delaware, and his junior year, while he was at Villanova, I recruited him, I believe. He played 3 years there, playing fullback and linebacker both ways, but had an injury his junior year, and he was asked to join the coaches team and help coach the younger kids. He's currently a Salesianum trustee and general partner of Vinebrook Homes and Real Estate Holding Company, and he also dated my sister for about 6 months. Please welcome Dan Bathon.
Can you imagine how scary it was to be over at his house in the basement with his sister, and he might come home? I thought about that a few times. Anyway, Mark Jackson played defensive back at Colby College. His sports career professionally started as an assistant coach at the New England Patriots, and then he went on to become a director of football development with the Oakland Raiders. Later, he became executive senior associate athletic director at Syracuse University when he went to the other side, the admin side, where he oversaw all aspects of athletic administration and support for 20 men's and women's programs before he was recruited to the University of Southern California. As a senior associate director of athletics and chief innovation officer at USC, he oversaw the marquee football program and the baseball program. He guided women's lacrosse and support services, which included sports medicine, strength and conditioning, nutrition, security, and apparel operations. So if you need some new sneakers, you talk to Mark. He can help you out with those. He oversaw $125 million in capital campaigns and $300 million in fundraising, and USC's dealings with the LA Coliseum. You guys know where that is. Where it led to improvements for the Coliseum and for USC. Villanova came calling in 2015, and Mark answered the call, fortunately for us. He is in charge of 24 varsity sports and more than 600 student athletes. Under his guidance and strategic vision, the school has won numerous national and Big East titles and made major capital improvements to its plant and equipment. But more importantly, Villanova dominates the Big East President's Cup, which is awarded annually to the school that excels in athletic competition, but also academic performance and community service and leadership. Mark's talent and wisdom has been recognized by his colleagues. He's been asked to serve on the Big East and many NCAA committees, some of which he has risen to chair, but that was natural for him. He was promoted to vice president of Villanova University and is recognized as one of the senior leaders of the school. But beyond all this, the career success, Mark is a man of character, principle, and people that know him say he listens and he has great compassion. And despite the accolades, he's the guy you like to sit next to and talk about almost anything. You can even talk about religion and politics with Mark and you go away enjoying it. A dedicated husband to Tricia and father of 4 great children, born in Boston, Massachusetts. Sally's, you're in for a treat tonight. With great pleasure, I give you Mark Jackson.
Thank you very much. I'm nervous. I'm nervous to be standing up here. Some things I knew coming in, but some things I didn't. I didn't know I was going to be by far the 3rd-ranked athletic director that's up here, because that's clear. I didn't know I'd have to follow Aiden and Andrew. Wonderful, wonderful job. I didn't know Mr. Riley was going to be here. Now, I would have told you Mr. Bathon was the greatest athlete ever out of Salesianum, at Villanova. But now I got Mr. Riley. So they're kind of neck and neck, 1 and 2, but way above Dante DiVincenzo in terms of athleticism, right? Who's that guy? But honestly, I'm honored and humbled to be a part of this evening. I want to thank President Karish, Father Beretta, Katie, just let me play a small role in 75 years of Salesianum athletic excellence. And tonight we celebrate so much. Athletes, students, past, present, alumni, leadership, across the board, we have it all. And honestly, Mike, what you've done and the impact that you've made here is something we all can follow. You've given us a blueprint on how to do it and how to do it the right way. So I thank you for that, Mike. Most importantly tonight, we recognize the foundation of the success here, the senior student athletes of the class of 2023. You have certainly left your mark as competitors, and to stay well within my 10 minutes, I won't recall all the accolades. I had them listed, but I think the best accolade I could give you when I asked Mr. Riley tonight, who would you classify as Salesianum's biggest rival here in Delaware. He said, "We don't have one. We beat everybody." It's a pretty big statement. More importantly, you've achieved wonderful things in the classroom and in the community. Incredible academic achievement. If my stats are right, 75% of the students here at Salesianum were accepted into the first university choice that they had. You've had countless hours of community and civic engagement. And at the core, what I admire most about all of you, including the many alumni that are here tonight, is that you've learned how to live Jesus. Vive Jesus. And we're given an education that prioritizes the development of the complete person with the hallmarks of a Salesian gentleman being, and I hope you know these because I've had a inspiration learning them: humility before God, gentleness with our neighbor, patience with ourselves, tenacity when facing challenges, compassion for those in need, gratitude for the present, and optimism for the future. This is uniquely Sally's and incredibly impactful for somebody that's new around it. And I shared it with my team at work. I shared it with my family at home. But for you to understand that mission is so important. And tonight, I just want to focus on the last two. And those are the gratitude for the present. Tonight's a special night. Where you're sitting, what you get to do at an elite place like this isn't for everyone. You are the top percent of the top percent. Your hard work has finally paid off, but you know it doesn't happen alone. Think about your experience. Think about those that helped: your parents, teachers, coaches, supportive alumni, mentors, and countless conversations on buses and long car rides with mom or dad. They all deserve to be thanked. Sally seniors, please stand up and give all those who have made an impact here tonight a round of applause. The next hallmark, and the one I want to spend some time on, is optimism for the future. Yeah, I'm going to be the guy, the old guy, that shares with you the mistakes of my past at the risk of sounding old, to help better prepare you as you approach the future of the real world that is fastly approaching. And it revolves around doing your lonely work. Lonely work, quoted by Muhammad Ali, is the lonely work that nobody sees that makes you great. And the lonely work has made a tremendous impact on my life. While as a junior in college, I was fortunate to land an internship with the New England Patriots when the Kraft family first purchased the team. It gave me great exposure at a young age, especially to those Hall of Fame head coaches in Bill Parcells and Pete Carroll and Bill Belichick. And for whatever reason, Pete Carroll and I grew a close connection, and I thought I wanted to coach. Pete, unfortunately, was eventually fired, but stayed in the Boston area and was supportive, very supportive to me and my family when I was losing my dad to cancer. And on a Friday afternoon, I went to go visit Pete for some support, and he had a year off from coaching, and I walked into his home office, and he had stacks of yellow legal pads that were filled with all kinds of his handwriting. And next to that was a book by John Wooden called Reflections on and Off the Court. I'd recommend it to everybody that's in here tonight. And I said, "Pete, what are you doing?" He said, "I'm finally figuring myself out. I'm doing my lonely work." I was just reading the John Wooden book, and I realized that John Wooden had spent 17 years as a head coach before he won his first ever national championship. 17 years till he got it right. And you know what he did after that? He went on to win 10 out of the next 11. And Pete told me at that point, he slammed the book shut. He said, I've been a prominent assistant coach. I've been fired from the Jets, and now I've been fired from the Patriots as a head coach. If I'm lucky, I'm going to get one more chance. But if I get that chance, I'm going to get it right. I'm going to figure myself out. And so he unplugged, he got away, and he started to write. He wanted to write about the kind of father he wanted to be, the kind of husband he wanted to be, the kind of friend he wanted to be, and then professionally, the kind of head coach that he was going to be if he got another chance. The way they dressed, the way they ate, the way they lifted, the way they trained, the way they talked to one another, the language they used, the way they were going to be on time. He thought through everything, and I was looking at it, and I said, oh my goodness, well, I hope you get the chance, because I want to go with you. Well, sure enough, I had a front row seat to that at the University of Southern California, and I watched him implement that plan because of the lonely work. You see, early on in Pete's career, it wasn't up until he was 46 years old, he was trying to be like somebody else. He was trying to emulate the Bill Walshes of the world and other coaches that he had been around. He wasn't authentic to himself until he did his lonely work. And I had a front row seat. I was the director of football operations at USC. Over the course of that run, we won back-to-back national championships. And every summer he would ask me, hey, Mark, have you done your lonely work? Have you put in the time? And yeah, I mean, I'm good. I was living in Manhattan Beach. I had a full-time job. I had a beautiful wife. We were starting to have children. Yeah, I'll get to it. I'll figure it out. And guess what? I left USC and I went to Syracuse. And then from there, I jumped back to the Oakland Raiders. And I never did my lonely work. And selfishly, I made a lot of moves that were chasing bigger dollars and bigger paychecks, but I was connected to my passion, I was connected to sports, but I didn't know really what I wanted to do. Did I want to be a head coach? Did I want to be an athletic director or a GM? Well, at the Oakland Raiders, we drafted a guy, Jamarcus Russell, you might remember, maybe the biggest bust in the history of the NFL draft. We lost a lot of games, and I was fired. 4 kids, 36 years old, not a job. Luckily, Pete was still at USC. He threw me a lifeline. He said, I'll take you back to USC. You can have a position back here, but before you do it, you're going to do your lonely work. You're going to figure yourself out. So for the first time, with a vacation on Cape Cod, my wife gave me a couple hours every morning, and I wrote. I finally started asking myself the same questions. What kind of husband am I going to be? What kind of father am I going to be? What do I really want to do? And out of that process, everything kept pointing back to being on a college campus. But more importantly, it gave me a leadership philosophy, and I'm a pretty basic, simple guy, that was going to be about my 4 Fs. My leadership philosophy, anything that I was going to do was going to be about my 4 Fs. And the first one's about family. And the same 4 walls that we're raising our 4 children and the values that we share there are going to be the same values that are going to be instilled into Villanova athletics. That's compassion, it's care, it's competitiveness. Sometimes it's tough love. In a family, you got to make tough decisions. The second F was about faith. And my Catholic faith is incredibly important to me, and it's only been strengthened through the Augustinian influence at Villanova. But faith is also something else to me. It's an attitude, it's an approach. It's that something great is just about to happen no matter what we're going through. And those are the kinds of people that I want around me at Villanova, and that's the way I want my kids to take their approach to life. The third F is friendship, and I'll give you another Muhammad Ali quote. He said, if you haven't learned the meaning of friendship, you learn nothing at all. And I go into every interaction, every conversation, hoping I'm going to make a friend. I'm hoping tonight that I'll make friendships with all of you. The fourth F for me is fun. And fun can be aloof, and yeah, we all like to have a good time and get together and laugh. But when I boil down fun, to me, it's the relentless pursuit of a competitive edge in everything that we do. Everything that we do. Tonight, I want this to be the greatest speech you'll hear your entire high school career. That's the way I want to approach this. And the conversation that I have with one of you afterwards, I want it to leave an impactful impression. And when I go home tonight after a long day and my 14-year-old wants to do something crazy, well, guess what? I'll compete with him to find a way to make sure that he knows I'm into it. Now, those 4 Fs are incredibly important, but they're mine. I took the time to figure that out. That's what drives me. God bless me that it works at Villanova. I'm not sure my 4 Fs work on Wall Street. I'm not sure my 4 Fs work with the NFL. But I know after 8 years at Villanova, it aligns with the mission of what Villanova is about, and I'm incredibly, incredibly fortunate to be a part of that. So for you, where to start? And maybe this doesn't resonate with you, and maybe you've done your lonely work and you've figured yourself out, but I'm still very much on a journey. But for you, the first message would be to unplug. Get away from your phone. I learned this morning that teenagers in our country spend 7 hours a day for entertainment alone on their phone. 7 hours. Take a break. Find something to write with. Find something to write on. Find some place quiet and start doing your lonely work. Begin asking yourself some hard questions. What kind of son do you want to be? What kind of friend do you want to be? What do you want to get out of your college experience? What are your real strengths and weaknesses? And if you could imagine waking up doing anything in the world tomorrow, what would it be? The beauty of this is that there's not any wrong answers. You can do anything you want to do. Another stat for you. 54% of the American workforce do not connect their profession to their personal identity. It's just a job to most people. Life's too short to simply have a job. Pursue something you're passionate about. Have a hard and meaningful conversation. Don't rely on email and text threads to schedule or connect. Set up a face-to-face meeting with a mentor that aligns with something you want to do. The lonely work will assure that whatever you decide to do, it will be reflective of who you are and not what somebody else wants you to be. I want to hear about it. As I said, standing room only at my funeral. I want as many friends as I can. I want to connect with you. These guys have my email. I'm not far away. I'm on Villanova's campus. I want to go with the journey. I want to go with your journey with you. You can help me just as much as I can help you. Hopefully someday I can celebrate a 40-year career as an athletic director, but it doesn't happen alone. We all need help and support, and we all need to continue to do our lonely work. I cannot congratulate you all enough. I wish you best, and families and alumni, thank you for having me. It's been an honor.
You didn't let me down, brother. Mark and I have known each other for about 8 years. We've spent a lot of lonely bus trips with the football team, going up and play Army and going down somewhere to play Mount St. Mary's or somebody, and we're always talking. And, you know, one of the things that he mentioned, the 4 F's, in my book I have faith, family, friends, and fortitude. The only difference is fun. And I like to have fun, and I had a little fun with him at one of the Villanova senior banquets, didn't I? I was emceeing with Villanova senior athletic banquets, and all their coaches come up. Mark comes up on the podium with me. These kids all get these beautiful watches, and he hands them, shakes their hand, just as personal as can be. By the way, he is the genuine act. And so we got done the night, and I looked around, and there were 3 of them sitting there. Somebody didn't show up or wasn't there. And I said, Mark, I said, you got a couple extra over there? I said, I was captain of the football team. I never got a watch. So he gets the watch and comes up and he gets it to me. I said, oh, look at this guy trying to have fun with me. I said, that's a left-handed watch. You know I can't use that. And he stood there and turned beet red. But the great guy that he did a week later came in the mail, and I'm wearing it here tonight. Thank you, Mark, for your station. So much has been said, and before I introduce Father, I just want to, as a Salesianum alumni, and I've had a son go here, 2 stepsons, and hopefully in 2 years, Bo Riley will be here, and he's quite a little athlete, but I just want to tell you something about the brotherhood and how real it is. been a long time since I was here, okay? But I can tell you, Tainui Nectamitam goes a long way. I have the advantage and I have the opportunities to speak all over this country. And I can't tell you how many times I run into a Salesianum graduate. And the first thing it is said, they'll come up and they'll shake my hand, and before they mention what their name is, they say, Tainui Nectamitam. And I know in a minute they went to Salesianum. And I don't know them for that 5 seconds that I've just met them, but I feel the brotherhood. And this brotherhood continues. And I'll just give you a quick example. 1979, when I had my arm and shoulder amputated, the doctors had asked, unbeknownst to me, for some of the people that I knew to donate some blood because it was going to be an 11.5-hour operation, and I was probably going to bleed out, which I did. And upon coming into my room after being in ICU for 2 days, the doc came in and he checked me out and he says, you know, I think we're going to be all right. I think I got it all. And he said, oh, by the way, he said, something happened to me out there with the nurses' stand that has never happened before. And he said, did you happen to get a chance to look at this little list? And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, unbeknownst to me till right now, this is the first time it's ever happened in my whole, career as a doctor. He said, you had 7 guys from your high school carpool up here and donate blood. And I'll tell you, it was Brazel, Pietropaula, Bukowski, Nerlinger, Leach, Gallagher, and Bellini. Now, I'm not so sure I wanted Carmen Bellini's blood, but what the heck? My point is, that meant something to me. You don't get that from the guy next door, okay? And that comes from the brotherhood because we go through this together. The last thing I want to leave you with is, see these guys sitting around you tonight? You have no idea what the future holds, but I can guarantee you, most of you will be in each other's weddings. You will be the godfather of 1 or 2 of their children. You will be there when they go through their first life crisis, whether it's a physical problem or an injury or a divorce or whatever. You'll be the first guy at the door, and you'll be there for everything after. I ask you to promise me this because you've been trained and you have the value system and you owe it to this institution and the parents out there who have invested in you. I ask you to remind yourself that the first week that you get to that college campus, that you hunt out a church, a chapel on campus, or the Newman Center. Mark knows that we have a chapel right right in the middle of the campus at Villanova. I happen to live about 30 yards from it, and I can't tell you how many times I went in there and did some lonely work. I challenge you to do that. Don't lose your God while you go away to college, because so much has been given to you, you owe him back in respect for this. You have the value system that you've learned here at Villanova, at Salesianum. Make sure that wherever you go, you use it there too. And remember this, as St. Francis de Sales said, nothing is so strong as true gentleness, and nothing is so gentle as true strength. Be tough, be compassionate, and be your own self. Now to lead us in prayer and say a couple final things, the principal, Father Beretta.
I have a few things to take care of, a few business items. The first thing is I want to thank everyone who spoke, especially all those people who spoke after dinner. I want to start actually by thanking Kevin. Anytime it's a big occasion, this being the 75th Alumni Athletic Banquet, way to bring back like the best. So I want to thank Kevin, our proudest alum, for coming back and leading us, as he always does so well. I want to thank Mark Jackson for your excellent words. We do have a parting gift for you. It looks like a lot of Salesianum swag, which I would ask you to get rid of all the Raiders, Patriots, and USC gear that you have left, and instead wear this. So thank you very much. Drew The class of 2020 will always, for me and for everyone who works at Sally's, have a very special place in our hearts. You guys were incredible leaders in one of the toughest years any of us ever faced. And having you come back and share, talk about putting in some lonely work, the stuff that you've gone through that year and every year since, and to hear the great things you're doing and the words you imparted, very proud of you. Aiden, I've never seen somebody start the speech with a standing ovation. It's hard to keep elevating from there. And if you thought Mr. Hart was emotional, I looked over, I thought I was gonna see your mom in tears, but she had to hold the camera steady because she was taking a video of the event. But your brothers were completely melting down in the first couple of parts of the speech. I did have to bring it up, Connor, you know it. Just, what's it gonna be like at graduation, man? All right, so, excellent job as always, and well-deserved those ovations. Before our closing prayer, I just want to thank everyone for continuing this great tradition. For alumni, this night is filled with memories of your own years at Salesianum. And I thank you for carrying this tradition on and continuing to build on that tradition that you experienced yourself and providing it for all of our current students. For parents, as your son's first coach, first equipment manager, athletic trainer, transportation manager, nutritionist, motivational speaker, chauffeur, and of course, biggest fan and photographer, it is a night of pride in your son's accomplishments. And finally, seniors, the sports banquet is the night to wear the white tux. You've already heard it several times, I'm not gonna say it again, but if we're all being honest, no matter how prepared you may be for the next level, as we start now, a lot of these senior events, you know you're going to miss some of this. And sports will have some of the strongest memories of your Salesianum days for those of you who are here tonight. We just finished the Easter season, and one of the most important words during that season has been echoed many times here tonight by the various speakers who have been at the microphone. And that word is passion. It's a great word. The passion of our Lord Jesus Christ, according to John, for example. We use that word today in a few different kinds of ways. We talk about the hunger for excellence that all great achievements demand, that total effort, a passion for your sport or for your career, or a passion project around the house, or for me, around school. Or we can talk about passion in a romantic sense, the intensity of being in love or of giving ourselves completely to another person. But the root of the word passion means to suffer. Something or someone we love so much, we're willing to suffer for it or for them. To love something or someone so much it actually hurts. Take Jesus on the cross. It's not that he had a death wish. He simply loved us so much, he believed in us so much, he was willing to suffer. As athletes, you have spent time training, trying out, competing for a spot, taking a risk to put yourself and pour yourself into something you love and believe in, to push your physical and mental limits with passion and commitment, to sacrifice, all for the chance to wear the S, the gold helmet, to step into that batter's box or onto the blocks, onto the court. I submit to all of you, as has been suggested by others tonight, that the most defining characteristic of Salesianum is not banners. At our best, it is our passion that sets us apart. A passion for excellence, a passion for teamwork, a passion for selflessness. Passion is what we do, what we bring, and who we are. A determination that while we may sometimes, rarely, taste defeat, we are never outworked, never out-hustled because of passion. Ours is a tradition built on humility in regard to individual achievements, but a relentless pride in the accomplishments of the team and the devotion to one another, this brotherhood that many outside these walls will never taste or understand. Many who have gone before you have worn that same white tux and that same S, and they are here for you tonight because watching you compete with the same passion reminds them of some of their greatest memories. Memories of when they were young, when their whole life was ahead of them in the same way that yours is now. When Salesianum was that first taste of how satisfying it can be to belong to something greater than yourself. That passion creates a bond that doesn't end with graduation. As Drew said, we still have spring sports and playoffs to look forward to and rally behind. And then one day, sooner than you know, it will be your turn to root for those who follow in your footsteps. And that is the meaning of Tenui Nectamitam, as Kevin just said. One person here tonight has exemplified this passion in a very particular way. And although he's been spoken of quite a bit, I have to add my 2 cents to this. As has been noted, from his freshman year of high school in 1966 to his role as athletic director emeritus tonight, Mike Hart has maintained a passion for Salesianum and for Salesianum athletics like no one else, and it's been demonstrated in his willingness to serve. For more than 40 years, he left his mark on a program that continues to reach new heights. He can be stubborn, maybe just a bit. But with Mike, that's a stubbornness that's the result of loving this school and this program with a commitment and longevity that is extraordinary. Mike, your passion for all things Salesianum has never been in doubt. And as you know, the men who wear the white tuxes here tonight and their many accomplishments are your legacy. On their behalf, and on behalf of everyone here, just one more time, I want to add my voice to thanking you for your years of service. And seniors, I want to close now with a somewhat lesser-known quote from our patron, St. Francis de Sales. Appropriate for the times in which we live and the world that you are soon about to enter. And the quote is this: God despises the peace of those he has destined for combat. I want to say that just one more time. God despises the peace of those he has destined for combat. Life is hard. And though the qualities of Salesian gentlemen certainly include humility, gentleness, and compassion, they also include tenacity, that grit and mental toughness to fight for something that you believe in, even when you face resistance and disappointment. Your greatness as a teammate and as a Salesian is not measured in wins. Your greatness here and always will be measured by your passion, what you are willing to sacrifice for, and the love that you have for your brothers. Tonight, for all the successes and championships, for the joy of victory, we are indeed grateful, and you've won a lot. But for the adversity and the losses and the disappointments and the agony of defeat, we also give thanks, because those were the moments that tested you, the moments that you grew the most, the moments you learned to fight without counting the cost. Someday, sooner than you think, you will need that true strength to persevere and meet some other challenge. And at that moment, I pray you will be the best version of yourself that we have talked about so much in your time here, that true friend to those in need in order to make a difference and build a better world. For God despises the peace of those he has destined for combat. Let us pray. Loving God, we thank you for your many gifts, for our health, for our loved ones, for all of the successes that we have enjoyed together, and for the disappointments from which we have grown. Most of all, we thank you for the gift of one another, those we have shared these moments and gifts with. For these seniors, Lord, we ask your continued blessings, bright futures, and many more opportunities to come. As Salesian gentlemen, may they always be gentle and humble in the spirit of our patron, St. Francis de Sales. And may they learn each day of the gifts that they have been given, and when they are placed at the service of others, especially those in need, they can change the world. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. My sisters and brothers, the Lord be with you. May Almighty God bless you, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. That brings our evening to a close. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful evening. Pictures may now commence.